Okay. Sige. Ah, yeah. So, kindly drop your questions or kung ano yung trip niyong pag-usapan today, any curiosities you have in mind, anything you want to start out. Sige. So, wait ako sa chat kung ano man yung yung concerns niyo. Meron ba? Yung mga okay na pala lahat eh. So, pwede na tayo mag-uwian.
Nahiya. Sige, ako na lang. Simulan ko
Okay
na lang.
lang. Salamat. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, because it's so amazing that I'm able to be in a room with different set of people, not just freelancing and all. My question is for people na I interact with. Um, how do you how do you keep the momentum? Kasi there are people in my circle na been a while, nagbabalik. Kasi may parang freelancer sila for 3 years, tapos bumalik. And then, of course, and then yung transition phase na sabi nung nakausap ko na, ang bilis, like in a span of 1 month, and kung hindi, may mga hindi ka nagawa, when you get back, ang dami ng bago with the rise of AI and all. So, just to appease what you're going through, what's the best way to say to them? Alam ko naman po na, everything's okay, that you have your own pace and all, but then there are times na they're being tested eh. And sabi nga nung napano ko kanina na things happen because it's not uh, it's not because of other people, but it's to test you, to test your faith, to test your determination, yung ganun. So, what's the best way to say to those type of people? That's my first question. Yung cluster na yun.
Right, right. So, whenever there's something that derails us, no, from a specific direction or a specific path na meron tayo, tapos meron tayong comeback era din, di ba, sa ibang pagkakataon. Or minsan hindi comeback, minsan, nag-shift na talaga yung direction into something else. Pero ano
Yeah.
man yung shift na yun, it requires na mag-gain ka ulit ng momentum and to pursue things and to
Mm.
grow with that direction. So, yung idea is, kapag mas long-term yung nai-envision mo, mas mag-iiba yung diskarte mo. Okay? Now, ito yung usual na nangyayari. Kapag ang vision ng isang tao is short-term lang, okay, hindi niya na ma-manage yung resources niya para maging sustainable yung journey niya. Anong example ng short-term vision? Ma-close ko yung next client ko.
Right. Okay.
Ma-hit ko yung income goal ko for the next 3 months. Okay?
Mhm.
Mabili ko yung something na pinag-iipunan ko. Okay? So all of those are examples of short-term na nai-envision mo, di ba? So ibig
Mhm.
sabihin, dahil short-term lang yung na-envision mo, yung pagpaplano mo at preparation mo ay hanggang dun lang sa point na yun. Hindi para maging sustainable yung mga bagay-bagay. Momentum requires that you envision things na mas pangmatagalan. Okay? Makakatulong dito yung mga concepts like the infinite game. Okay? So the infinite game is yung klase ng pursuit na lifetime mo babanatan. Okay?
Mhm.
So example, entrepreneurship. Okay? Pag ninegosyo. Yung pag ninegosyo, it's an infinite game. Pero yung isang business, example sa akin, yung microfinance, pwede yung microfinance na business, I will be working on it for a few years lang o up to a certain extent. Pero yung entrepreneurship, patuloy akong gagawa ng iba't ibang business ventures na katulong sa ibang tao. That's a lifetime thing hanggang huling hininga ko na yan. Okay?
Mhm.
So, yung short-term stuff, nagpapalit-palit talaga ng shape and form. Pero yung long-term, yung infinite game, well, andun ka lang. It's a continual pursuit. No? So if a person hasn't identified yet ano yung long-term vision nila o ano yung infinite game nila, momentum doesn't really make sense eh. Kasi hihilahin sila ng lahat ng short-term stuff. And yung resources nila, ipupull din ng lahat ng short-term stuff. Ang danger, mauubos ka in the moment instead of ma-allocate mo ng maayos yung resources mo para pang matagalan yung galawan mo sa journey. Okay? So kapag puro short-term, mag-all in ka, di ba? Laging palong-palo yung mode, ganyan, bubuhos mo lahat. Pero many times, ang dating is, inuutang mo na yung resources na kailangan mo para mabuhay next year para lang ma-figure out yung this year. Okay? And a lot of people, hindi nila napapansin na overspent na sila. Kapag overspent ka na, kahit ano pang gawin mo, kahit ano pang strategy, kahit ano pang suporta yung meron, aabot sa point na um, magbabackfire yung pagiging overspent sa focus, mawawala ka ng maayos na energy, ang magkasakit. All of those things happen kasi people spend more than they should. Okay? Maraming factors bakit yun. Aside from short term yung vision. Kapag short term yung vision din kasi ang effect nun is nagiging impatient tayo. So tinatry nating madaliin yung mga bagay-bagay, di ba? Kasi wala kang plano for the next 5 years at wala ka na envision for the next 5 years. Malamang lahat ng pagpaplanuhan mo at pagbubuhusan mo ng resources within the year lang. Yeah. Pero walang maayos na plano na how can I build up to the next year and then build up to the next year. Yeah. So long-term vision, infinite game, and it's not just a matter of determining it. It's also, kapag nakita mo na yun, kailangan mo nang i-filter yung mga opportunities based on what you're aiming for long-term. Pero mahirap kasi mag-filter kung wala kang pang matagalan na vision. Lahat ng opportunity seems like, sige, andyan na yun sa harapan ko, ibabalatan ko na. But not all opportunities are actually equal when it comes to its returns. And some opportunities, pag naubos ka na doon, example lang, tatlo yung client mo ngayon, magdadagdag ka pa ng isa kasi may ang apat na client point na, yes, you will gain certain money, pero may trade-offs yun na hindi ka na makakapag-set up ng mas maayos for the year ahead. Okay? So, yun lang. May mga trade-offs na kailangan mas maging aware about.
Okay,
May
sige.
follow-up
So now,
question? Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yes, and also, how do you deal, sorry, ito yung scenario, di ba, the comeback and all. So yeah, ang nakuha ko doon is, yun nga, they also have to revisit ano talaga yung long-term plan nila. Kasi nga, ang ano nito is, you're a parent, you have a responsibility, breadwinner and stuff. Now, one of the things na ako personally nahirapan ako is when emotions come in, na I see, I mean, when you talk to people na for us, kasi hindi ako mano hindi ako empath, wala akong empathy sa katawan. I'm really learning. So, siguro for me, nahihirapan ako. How do I communicate better to people who's going through some emotional burden na sinasabi nila na, alam mo yun, for us, simple lang, pero sila nahihirapan sila, nanginginig na sila, mula na, alam, yung ganong scenario na may physical manifestation na I can't breathe, I feel stuck, na igagalaw ko na lang yung kamay ko, pero parang ang hirap. But for others, it seems easy, but for them, it's really crippling. And how do you help people? Because nga, we're training, we're helping people, right? We're in the business of guiding and helping people.
Yeah, I just saw yesterday one of my Facebook memories na post.
Hmm?
Hindi ko na rin share, no? Pero it's along the lines of, kapag ready ka na magkaroon ng pagbabago sa buhay mo, hahanap ka ng someone na pwede kang i-hold accountable. So that's a mentor, that's a coach, that's a community. Pero kapag hindi ka pa handa na magkaroon ng change in your life, ang hahanapin mo is barkada. Ang hahanapin mo is karamay. Okay? Yung pwede kang i-comfort in the moment. Okay? So basically, dalawa yung klase ng tao. Okay? In every journey. Merong mga tao na ready na for transformation and merong mga tao na hindi pa ready. Okay?
Mm.
Now, para sa mga tao na hindi pa ready, ang mas kailangan nila is maintindihan kung ano talaga yung problema.
Mm.
Kasi hanggat di nila naiintindihan yung problema, hindi nila alam talaga yung consequences nun, hindi nila alam what it is costing them, hindi nila alam, minsan alam nila yung effects ng problem. Ramdam nila yung emotional, mental, physical, financial, relational toll ng problema, pero hindi pa nila naiintindihan yung problem enough to actually do something about it. Dahil di nila naiintindihan yung problema, ang default mode nila is to find someone na pwedeng maka-relieve dun sa current pain, pero hindi necessarily help na makaka-solve dun sa pain. Okay? So there is a good measure to receive empathy and may makikinig sa'yo and kumbaga merong magko-comfort sa'yo in your situation to let you know hindi ka alone, let you know na may nakakita, may pwedeng dumamay, may pwedeng makinig and all that. That's one side of it. Okay? And that's for people na hindi pa ready. Pag hindi pa sila ready, kailangan nila mas maintindihan yung problema nila and all the consequences involved in that. Hanggang sa umabot sa point na, I must do something about this problem. Hindi pwedeng manatiling ganito. Okay? Pag wala pa sila sa point na yun, well, yeah, mas comfort yung kailangan nila and processing para mas magets nila yung problem. Now, kapag ready na sila for transformation, they're ready to take action, they're ready to take steps, they're ready to absorb a different strategy so that they can move forward differently. Okay? So, madali naman malaman eh. A few questions sa kada tao, malaman mo kung ready na siya magbago o kailangan niya lang ng karamay. So, kung kailangan niya lang ng karamay, ibig sabihin hindi niya pa naiintindihan talaga yung sitwasyon niya enough to make the person want transformation. So yun. Madalas ang tanong, parang sa ano rin, parang sa mag-asawa eh. Diba? Kunyari, may sasabihin sa akin si Tin, ano bang kailangan mo? Makikinig or solutions? Okay? Kailangan mo lang ba ng listening ear? So mag-rant ka lang ba sa akin? Pero hindi ako pwede mag-comment? Or kailangan mo ng actual insight and strategy coming from my experience and my point of view? Ganun din yun. So kapag ready na yung tao na mag-transform, ang hahanapin niya is solutions, accountability, strategy. Kapag hindi pa siya ready, ang mas kailangan niya is maintindihan yung problem niya. Pero ang hahanapin niya talaga comfort. Okay? So pwede mo naman pagsabayin yun na as someone being there, asking a few questions about the situation. Ano ba yung nangyari? Ano ba nararamdaman mo pag ganyan? Hanggang sa ma-realize ng person na, oh nga no, mas malalim pa pala tong sitwasyon na to, may mas malalim pa pala problem dito. And then the person, unti-unti, is led to the point of Ready na ba akong may gawin talaga sa problema ko? Yan. Um, if we jump to strategies right away without a person being ready dun sa transformation na pwede nilang i-embrace, kasi hindi naman nila nagigets talaga yung problem that they are in, walang kwenta yung strategy. Kasi walang hugot for them para panindigan yung strategy nila. Minsan,
Mm.
kayang ilaban. Kahit di na nagigets, o lalo na pag nasa program, nasa community, eh lahat ginagawa yung same set of steps. Sige, sabayan ko na lang, ganyan. And stuff. Pero, ah, isipin mo, magkaiba yung tumatakbo ka na naka-running shoes versus tumatakbo ka na naka-tsinelas. Tapos may kadena sa paa mo, tapos may bilog na, na bakal.
Very visual naman. Yes, I get it.
So, yun, ang usual nangyayari, kahit kayang sabayan for a time yung strategy, mapag-iiwanan pa rin yung mga tao na yun kasi sabay-sabay silang tumatakbo pero mas mabigat talaga yung nakakapit sa paa nila. Nang
Mhm.
usually hindi nila napapansin. Hanggang sa umabot na lang sa point na naubos na sila. Hindi sila naubos dahil yung strategy ay nakakaubos per se. Naubos sila kasi pinagsasabay nila to do something about their situation through a specific program or guidance ng ibang tao. But at the same time, hindi pa na-deal kung ano yung dapat i-deal with them on a personal level. So, yeah, I'm loving the questions.
Thank you so much. That's it for me so that we can give space to people. Claire.
Ayan,
Ayun, kage.
go ahead.
Curious ako, personally, how you go about it, saka yung sa observations din sa iba. Ayun, medyo connected din in a way sa medyo, about, about emotions din eh. Yung yung pag-balance or yung paghanap ng midway between dreaming and practicality. Yun.
Mm.
Yung tipong, yun, siguro yung ako personally, yung challenge ko minsan, parang nag-ano ako sa extremes na yung either na yung or yung parang sinushoot down ka agad na may pangarap ka tapos biglang ano mo na kagad ay hindi pwede kasi ganyan ganito yung kailangan ganito ganyan. So parang minsan tawag dito. Feeling ko ngayon nasa stage ako na gusto ko ulit na makita yung possibilities kasi marang ang narrow ng tingin ko na ito lang yung nakikita ko yung immediate. So parang ang naano ko yung balance or yung dance between that, yung parang yung pangangarap ka na din na yung grounded. Pero yung hindi naman yung sobrang gina-ground mo na ay parang na yung puro naging naysayer ka na eh. Ayun. Ayun, yung
Gotcha.
ganun
So, kailangan magkaroon ng hiwalay na time talaga. Yung ideating or envisioning versus planning, okay, and then executing. Okay? Magkakaibang layers yun of the same path. So kapag nandun ka lang sa ideation, okay, you're thinking big. And when you're thinking big, wala ka pang karapatan na isipin lahat ng negative. Okay? Hindi mo pa tinitingnan yung resources mo, hindi mo pa tinitingnan yung limits, wala ka pang restrictions na ina-apply. It's just kung ano man yung desires mo, as big as possible, as wide as kung ano pa man, okay, superlative mode. So, dito sa ideating, specific time yung sineset mo for it, and wala pang plano dun. Wala pang timeline, wala pang numbers, wala pang resources, wala pang anything. Okay? It's just you giving your desires a space para ma-express. Okay? Now, kapag hindi natin nahihiwala yung ideating time dun sa planning tsaka executing, dun tayo madalas gulo-gulo, di ba? Yung friction sa pagiging practical and then honoring your dreams is because nagiging magkahalo yung pag-envision at saka yung pagpaplano. Okay? Kailangan silang maging magkahiwalay in the first place. And of course, it takes practice. Kung nasanay ka na okay, may vision ako, tapos automatically you find yourself nagpaplano na kagad how to approach that, kailangan mong sanayin na hindi. Envisioning time lang muna to. Ideating time lang muna to. Iba pa yung planning time ko. Okay? Now sa planning, dyan na nagkakaroon ng timeline, ginagawa mo na siyang goal kasi ginagawa mo na siyang measurable. Okay? Inaalam mo na ano yung mga resources na meron ka at ano yung pwede mong ibuhos, di ba? Doon sa approach, sa strategy para i-pursue yung mismong idea or vision. Okay? And doon na nagkakaroon ng possible na conflict kung practical ba para sa'yo. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Kapag it doesn't feel practical sa planning stage, ibig sabihin may mga pwede kang i-adjust. Okay? It doesn't necessarily mean na the desire is not supposed to be honored in your life. For example, 2022, we got married and supposedly, lilipat na kami sa Bacolod ng 2023. Okay? What happened to us is na reservation fee na kami sa isang condo. Okay? Tapos, yung agent doon sa condo, tinakbo yung reservation fee namin. Okay? So, nalaman ko na lang mga 3 months in kasi dapat nag-auto debit na yun dun sa BPI na card na binigay namin or details. Pero 3 months na, wala pa rin nag-auto debit. So, in-inform lang ako ng finance manager ko, so tinawag nila. Nasa Manila na kami nun. So, pumunta kami Bacolod, we enjoyed it, we decided to live here. So nag-ano na kami, 2022 yun, tapos nag-reservation fee. After that, yun nga, tinakbo ng agent. So hindi kami nakalipat dito ng 2023. Pero 2025 ngayon, nandito na kami. Okay? So nakalipat na kami. So nagkaroon ng konting delay. So yung desire, which is, okay, we move to a place na mas chill and then that's where we build our family. Andun siya. Yun yung part of the vision. Pero how it would happen, minsan it depends. Akala namin 2023, okay na agad. Pero ginawa naman namin yung part namin, may mga stuff na nangyari, so hindi pa timing. But nag-iba lang siya ng timeline. The desire is still honored. Okay? So, if you don't dedicate a time to envision lang mismo, kung laging kahalo yung plano, maraming mga plano, guguluhin talaga o isusuffocate yung desires mo. And mas sayang yun. Kasi some of your desires are not meant to be fulfilled according to your plan. Okay? So, ano yung purpose ng planning? Ang purpose ng planning is to set a direction papunta dun sa vision. It's not to set a perfect case scenario of how your vision will happen. Okay? So, nagpaplano tayo para magkaroon ng direksyon with the limited resources that we have in attempts to fulfill the vision. Pero hindi rin sa lahat ng pagkakataon yung plano natin will work. Pero kung hindi man siya mag-work, ibig sabihin ba yung vision hindi na viable? Okay? So maraming pagkakataon, kapag pinagsama natin yung vision at planning, kapag hindi nag-work yung plan, ni-scratch na natin yung vision naturally. It must sayang yun kasi that's a part of your soul, that's a part of your heart, that's a part of who you are. Na technically, kailangan mo ibasura dahil yung attempt number 1 or number 2 or number 3 is hindi nag-work out. Plans change, pero the things that are inside your soul and inside your heart, these are things that you need to continually create space for. Okay? So that's a long-winded answer. Kailangan ko lang idiin yun talaga mismo, the distinction, no? Kasi yung planning, pwede rin i-outsource. Okay? Hindi kailangan na ikaw lang yung nagpaplano for the vision that you have in your life. You can actually ask a consultant, ask a coach, ask a mentor, ask other people. Pwedeng ang planning is co-planning. Okay? Lalo na if mayroong ibang mga tao in your life na key or crucial part sila of that vision happening in your life. Okay? So, I hope that makes sense. Pero baka may follow-up questions on this.
I love it, Kage, yung pagkasabi ninyo na tungkol ron sa ano, yung still, yung hindi na ibabasura yung dream. Siguro may mga nangyayaring ganun nga, yung pag-feeling ko viable, hindi viable, parang inaano ko na yun. Pero totoo nga, yung parang may part ng soul mo na namamatay pagka ginagawa mo yun. So parang somehow, siguro ang important is nandun yung feeling, yung how it will happen lang yung kailangan nga magbago. And grabe, Kage, nakakaano nga yun na na-scam kayo nung agent. Pero happy na nandyan na kayo ngayon, na yun nga, na-delay lang. Siguro, Kage, ang follow-up ko lang, paano yung gap between, tawag dito, dreaming and planning and executing? Para nandun pa rin yung momentum, pero at the same time, na-honor mo pa rin yung parang, na-honor mo pa rin yung parang yung nangangarap ka lang without limits. Na yung tipong yung tamang time lang nag-gap na yung. Kasi minsan, di ba, nawawala ng momentum pag hindi agad ginawa. Or pwede rin namang pag masyado namang, pag pinatagal naman, or pag agad-agad naman, yun nga, na naman siya. Parang nasa stunt siya. So, yun. So, in your experience, ano yung,
Yeah. So, dalawa lang naman talaga yung measurable na levers when it comes to our resources. So, di ba, yung life systems resources kasi, or currencies, they're summed up in the acronym na TEAMS, no? So, TEAMS. So, that stands for time, energy, attention, money, tapos social net. So, yun yung link. Lahat yan, merong specific measurement, no, in our lives. Pero kasi, yung mas tangible lang na nami-measure is time and money. Kasi meron talagang actual numbers yan, no? Yung quality of relationships, tansyahan yan, no? Yung quality ng energy mo, kung low energy, high energy, tansyahan yun. Quality ng attention and focus, tansyahan din yun, no? Pero yung time at saka money, okay, these are very tangible. So, pwedeng i-measure by actual numbers. Okay? If you wanna execute ng napoprotektahan mo yung pag-take mo ng action without compromising momentum or anything else. Okay? Kailangan very aware ka paano tumatakbo yung oras mo, okay? And ano yung status ng finances mo. Okay? So this is being responsible in managing your time and managing your money. If you get those two skill sets sorted out, okay? Ano man yung ini-envision mo for the future, mas magiging madali na both magplano at mag-adjust ng plano for it as needed. Okay? So, if yung skill of time management and financial management is prioritized in your life, okay, including yung mindset shifts, diba? Yung emotional shifts about money and time, different concepts around it that shape your choices on how you use your time and your money, okay? ano man yung direction na tatahakin mo for whatever vision that you're trying to build, mas manageable yung yung momentum, yung pacing, okay? And even yung mga trade-offs in between that journey. Kung may mga unexpected stuff man o mga stuff na hindi ka nakapag-prepare for pero nangyari pa rin. Okay? So yeah, a lot of that time management, financial management is summed up in first is auditing. Okay? You need to have a way para ma-audit mo regularly. Kamusta ba yung oras ko? Saan napupunta? Okay? Kamusta ba yung money ko? Saan napupunta? Ano yung inflow and outflow of money in my life? Okay? So auditing is the number one thing. Pangalawa is the processing. Sa processing, dyan yung meron ka ng tinutweak. So na-audit mo na, di ba? Tapos may kita mo, hindi pala dapat dito napupunta yung oras ko, dapat pala sa iba. Okay? So ipaprocess mo na siya so that you can apply changes sa allocations ng oras at pera within your life. Okay? And then lastly is optimizing. Okay? So it takes a bit of testing muna para makita mo. Diba? Tapos yung optimizing is based on kung anong na-test mo, ito pala yung mas proper. Okay? Pag pinrocess mo, nagre-reallocate ka lang, pag nag-optimize ka na, nag-decide ka na, okay, for a significant amount of time, for a long-term period, ito na yung bagong sistema ko, ito na yung optimized na flow ng oras ko at ng pera ko. So, ang acronym for that is APO, Audit Process Optimize. Bakit APO? Kasi, pang yun, intergenerational. Ginawa na lang na acronym. Pero intergenerational siya. So, parang kung matino ka sa oras tsaka sa pera, magiging ikaw yung favorite, lolo at lola ng mga angkan nyo. Anyway, so, lang yun, medyo joke. Para lang madali ko matandaan. Kaya dapat nababasa. Audit Process Optimize, APO. Okay. Any follow-up questions to this?
Salamat, Kag. Ang ganda, ang ano naman nung apo. Katawa, ninote ko na. So yung P doon sa apo, parang audit mo muna, tapos P is yung parang babaguhin mo yung process, depende sa na-audit mo, di ba? Parang exchange mo. Tapos saka mo, tama ba? Or intindi ko yung optimize, tapos parang yung P at saka O, di ko siya ganong na-differentiate. Parang intindi ko.
The differentiation ng O, yung optimization, is nag-decide ka na for long term na yun na yung system mo. Yeah. And nagkakaroon na lang talaga ng major changes doon. Kapag feeling mo, kailangan mo na ulit mag-audit. Kasi marami na nagbago sa buhay. Kunyari, magta-transition ka, lumipat ng ibang lugar, or nag-shift ng career, or may ibang dumagdag na dependent sa buhay mo, or different stuff. No? So kapag major yung transitions, usually that requires auditing ulit. Pero kung wala namang major transitions, yung optimized version can last a long while with you sticking to it. Yeah.
Thanks, Kage. Yay, salamat.
Sige. Thank you, Claire. I love the question. Yeah. Anything else from the group? Anything you want to sort out? Anything na gusto nyo itanong? You can chat it up or raise your hand, tas chika tayo.
Kag, it's more of I want to share my insight then. Speaking of yung sa goals and yung achieving it, di ba we always hear na you be with the people who's aligned with the things that you want to happen in your life, no? So it's inevitable na there are people na you started with, but then in the long run, they're not gonna be the same set of people they're gonna be with. Kasi along the way to achieve your infinite goal, sabi mo nga, di ba, nag-iiba-iba yung yung means, nag-iiba-iba yung way for us to achieve that. Yeah. You will outgrow things at a certain point, but based on your experience, would there come a time that you'll also get back the same momentum that you had then when you first started? Yet you're already closer to your infinite goal? Or will it really be different because iba na yung mindset mo, iba na yung personality mo, iba na yung experiences mo?
Yeah. Siguro yung dinedescribe mo dito is pagiging desperado sa una.
Not really desperado kasi paano ba? Like, okay, na lang, siguro with PBA, when we all started, di parang tayo, di ba? Yes, but then along the way, things happen, different goals, different plans, and then like ako, I couldn't attend the night meeting because of other responsibilities. Pero the momentum, ang iniisip ko is, there's a connection kasi when you start, like when you enroll in a program, and then afterwards, in the long run, hindi na ma-maintain. But will there come a time na babalik pa rin yung same momentum na yon? Even if you're closer, you're not where you were at when you first met or when you first joined, you're closer to your infinite goal. But and a lot of things happen na.
Right. So here's the thing. So creating programs, even before I was a coach and a mentor, because I was a teacher back then, and like we're doing lots of events then as my sideline work. Kasama yung mga NGO projects, government projects, and especially yung nag-agency na ako before, karamihan ng clients namin are nandun sa space na yun. No? So, ano yung purpose ng programs? Okay? Ang purpose ng programs is to set a specific path for a specific group of people para ma-achieve nila yung specific results. Okay? Kaya nga siya program, ang dating is basta dumaan sila doon, programmatic. Okay? So meron silang isang set of stuff na dinadaanan, tapos they would achieve a certain result. Now, programs hindi siya 100% successful. Okay? Hindi siya 100% success rate kasi may mga nuances yung journey ng bawat tao. So we have to, as program creators or anyone na tumutulong sa mga tao na through a specific process to achieve results, kailangan i-temper na agad natin yung expectation natin na okay, 100% na yung completion rate, magkaiba pa yun sa success rate. Okay? Ito yung nakakatawa. Hindi lahat na nakatapos ng program na-achieve yung results. Kahit nandun sila lahat 100% of the time at dinaanan nila lahat, ginawa nila lahat ng activity. Kasi nga, may mga factors na personal. May nuances yung kada journey ng bawat tao. Hindi mo alam anong trauma nila. Hindi mo alam ano yung mga ano yung ugali ng mga kapamilya nila. Hindi mo alam kung basta maraming factors outside of your control. So to assume na 100% yung success rate, that's overconfidence. Okay? So there's a certain level of effectivity for your program na makikita mo lang din if you run the program enough times. Okay? And the goal is to improve that effectivity rate over time. Okay? Ngayon, dun sa mga tao na may momentum sa simula and then eventually nawawala, here's the tricky part. Some people na hindi na nagpa-participate, okay, have better results than people who continually participate. Okay? Ito, quick example. Marami sa mga freelancers na nagpo-post on social media, may oras sila mag-post sa social media kasi wala silang clients. But it would look like they are the most active and pinaka kumikita na freelancers out there. When in actuality, baliktad. Kung busy ka talaga with client work and building your agency and nauubos yung oras mo for catering to your clients' needs, yung marketing side of your business will eventually fall off. Lalo na kung freelancer ka kasi solopreneurship yun eh. Okay? Yung patuloy na pagsabay ng marketing yourself while puno na yung client slots mo, almost always never happens. Very slim chances. Okay? So if you see someone na, di ba, sobrang todo yung marketing niya, yes, parang ang taas ng participation rate niya in that specific thing, pero at the same time, yung results niya mababa. Is this making sense as an example? So,
yes.
not everyone who goes to a program na mataas yung participation rate is actually getting results. Okay? Meron din ang mga pagkakataon na, of course, as a person participates more, then mas meron siyang naging results. So it actually just depends. Okay? So, yung bang participation rate, napatunayan na ba na mas nagpapataas ng resulta? Kasi pwede rin naman na ang non-participation can increase results. What if yung participation increases overwhelm, increases comparison and overthinking? What if yung mas pagiging active is nabobombard ka ng sobrang daming information? Much of it you don't need. Much of it na hindi na pala relevant sa'yo. So, yung focus mo napupunta na sa mga bagay na mas okay sana kung na-direct towards the things na mas relevant for you. So, merong level na tamang timpla for every person. Okay? Hats off to Kaizen. No? So, when I was being onboarded, there's this one question na relevant dito. Kasi tinanong doon kung anong klase ng person ka. Ikaw ba yung hindi nag-engage sa inyong choice number 1? Hindi ka nag-engage, silent ka lang, lurker ka lang, that's option A. Tapos meron namang saktong engagement lang, so nagda-like sa mga posts, nagbabasa, ganyan, nagko-comment. Tapos meron din namang mga yung nasa accountability calls talaga na gusto mo mag-meet ng mga tao, nakakausap mo sila and stuff. Tapos merong under or parang specify mo anong trip mong engagement. So, that question is being asked kasi dinidivide yung mga tao into kung ano yung mas trip nila na klase ng participation level. Okay? If that participation level lang yung kaya nilang ibigay, merong mag-a-adapt na something dun sa ganong klase lang ng participation level. Okay? And that's a part of programs talaga. If you want to cater to more people and increase success rate, kailangan mo mas i-narrow down yung mga nuances of people's experiences. So you have to provide something for lurkers. You have to provide something for may mga saktong nag-engage lang. You have to provide something for the people na nasa Zoom call talaga every time. So there's layers to program building if you want to increase success rate for every type of student. Yeah, does that make sense as an answer?
Yeah, I'm getting an aha moment because right now, I veered away from community management. I'm moving into a different direction now. But I still resonate with service-based providers for program creators. So I'm
right.
Ganda.
Yeah, add ko na lang. Pwede rin magbago yun. So example, wala ng isang program. Ako nilagay ko sa Eisen Lurker ako eh. So hindi ako mag-judge ng mga accountability and stuff. Pero if at one point, feeling ko para makakatulong sa akin if I progress my participation level, then I can engage differently within that program kasi may available naman na other parts for me to engage with afterwards. Okay? So gusto ko mode lang ako talaga sa simula. Pero baka at one point, diba, within the 100-day period that I'm there, if I want to switch it up, then I can. Pwede rin naman na baliktad. Pwedeng high participation level yung isang tao. Okay? Bakit bumababa yung participation rate nila? Baka may results na sila eh. So hindi na nila kasing kailangan na mag-participate in the same way. Kasi, kunyari, may results ka na, kakainin na yung oras mo ng ibang bagay. Yeah. So, it's a matter of checking in talaga with every person. So, not everyone na hindi na nakaka-attend sa session, ibig sabihin is not doing well. Not everyone na hindi na nakapag-participate o nakapagpasa ng homework is, ibig sabihin, nagka-crumble down yung buhay niya. Pwedeng oo. So, kailangan pa rin talagang kamustahin. Pero pwede rin naman na hindi. Ibig sabihin, the program, the part of the program they already went through is effective enough para i-push sila to certain level of results. And kung okay na sila doon, nabibisi na sila doon, normally, mawawalan sila ng oras for the program itself.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. Sa PBA, I make it a point na people, actually, nakakatawa. Because with the programs I have, there's 3 levels of engagement. There's engagement with lessons. So, pwede yung replay or panoorin lang yun, at your own pace. So, kung ikaw yung tipo ng hindi makaka-attend sa session and all that, pwede mo nang balikan. So, parang it's your own thing. Yeah. Kasama doon yung pag-engage sa mismong platform. Yeah. So, kasama yun, engagement with the lessons in the platform. Pangalawa, there's engagement with the coach. So, a lot of people sa TBA, di naman sila active sa GC, pero nag-email sila sa akin at nag-PM sila sa akin. So, I get to know pa din, kamusta sila? Okay? And then, yung pangatlo is engagement with the community. So, ito na yung mga tao na nag-uusap man sila through the GC or through the Zoom calls or through, nag-build na lang sila ng friendship along the way within that program. And may interaction sila. Yeah. So, yung tatlong part na yun, lahat yun merong specific contribution to a person's journey. So, kung mas less yung engagement ng tao dun sa tatlong parts na yun, then yun, medyo lugi na siya dun sa investment niya into it kasi hindi niya nasusulit. Ideally, nag-engage siya dun sa tatlong parts. The lessons, the coach, and the community. Pero kung sakaling, kunyari, 2 out of 3 lang yung kunyari, nahihiya sa akin, ayaw mag-message sa akin, pero lagi nasa Zoom call, kaya kino-consume yung lesson, tingin ko may benefit pa rin yun. Kung nahihiya siya sa ibang tao, pero nagkukwento lang siya sa akin, tapos nag-consume ng lesson, okay lang yun. So, depende pa rin.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Masaya actually magpag-usapan natin yung program design. Kaya sa akin kasi I've simplified na rin through the years. Chill lang yung program. Hindi ako rara. Yeah. Okay. So, we have 9 minutes left. May final question tayo na pwedeng sagutin. Meron ba? Anyone? Karen, may question ka ba, Karen? Since naka-video on ka na rin naman. Parang walang sound, Karen. Sige, no worries. Baka na-mute sa mic. Naka-mute ka pa sa Zoom. Wala pa rin for some reason. Oo. Okay lang. Sige, balikan na lang natin. Okay. Sige, may sinandito si D. Sabi niya, okay. So, situation with the company, may times na napapaisip na akong mag-resign, but in my situation today, mahirap siya. Living alone as a breadwinner, nasa moments din ako na I feel stuck and don't know where to start. Here's the thing. There's this concept, especially for corporate people, it's called renting yourself out. Okay? The idea, kapag nag-rent ka ng bahay, di ba, hindi naman talaga sa'yo yung bahay na yan. So, kunyari, nagkaroon ka ng budget, di ba? Tapos kaya mong ipagawa yung bahay na yun. Kaya nag-rent ka, first floor yung bahay, ay nagkaroon ka ng budget para magkaroon ng second floor yung bahay na yun. Ipapagawa mo ba na second floor yung bahay na yun kung nagre-renta ka lang doon? It doesn't make sense because you don't own that house. Di ba? Yung idea kasi with our corporate jobs, okay? It feels like sa ibang company cultures, it feels like hindi mo siya bahay, okay? Hindi mo naman siya negosyo, hindi naman siya sa'yo, okay? Pero kailangan mo siyang effortan or i-build as if sarili mo siyang bahay. Kumbaga parang hindi sa'yo yung bahay tapos papagawa mo ng second floor. Okay? I'm not sure if this is making sense. Pero if ganun yung na-feel mo na treatment with your corporate job, malamang dahil kailangan mo yung corporate job. And because of that, parang, okay, nag-go ka the extra mile. Some of us hindi nag-go the extra mile when it comes to when it comes to effort. Okay? Tipong hindi ka naman talaga tumutodo sa effort sa work. Pero yung isip mo, tsaka yung puso mo, di ba? Mental at emotional side dun sa work. Kahit nasa bahay ka na, naiisip mo pa rin. Kahit ibang bagay na dapat yung ginagawa mo at ibang tao yung kasama mo, naiisip mo pa rin. Okay? This is one prime example of that. No? Na you are asking the specific question. Kasi tingin ko, it's not only bothering you within work, it's also bothering you kahit outside ka na of your work hours. Okay? Kumbaga mabigat na siya enough na nakaka-disrupt na siya ng buhay. Okay? So, yeah, yung idea ng renting yourself out is kapag nagre-rent ka, kung ano lang yung nasa kontrata, di ba? So, hindi mo kailangan mag-go beyond that. Kung ano yung scope of work mo, di ba? Hindi mo kailangan ipagawa yung second floor kung hindi naman sa'yo yung bahay. Does that make sense? So, trabaho lang. Yun yung point. Pwede ba na ang maging treatment mo sa work is work lang? Kung ano yung kailangan mong gawin, kung ano yung tasks na meron ka, you highly focus on all of those. Can you answer here, Di? Because the context here is, hindi mo nagugustuhan na mareklamo. Ayan, so, working sa private company, lately may situation na hindi ko na din nagugustuhan kasi naging mareklamo siya. Masyadong blunt in my comparison, which is hindi din naman kami same ng role. Okay. So, pwede ba na huwag pansinin tong taong to? Pwede bang trabaho lang?
Hello. Narinig niyo po ako?
Yes.
With regards kasi sa work namin, connected kasi siya with the client and ako kasi yung senior nila and may times na parang kahit gusto ko siyang i-ignore, hindi ko siya ma-ignore kasi may part ng work na kailangan ko pa rin sagutin. But may times kasi na, alam mo yon yung nagrereklamo na siya bakit ganito yung ibibigay mo, ganito, ganyan. Tapos parang sa akin, nagiging comparison din siya kasi gusto niya na gawin ko yung work nila na ginagawa din ng manager ko minsan. Kasi tumutulong yung manager ko minsan sa kanila. So parang nagiging comparison siya sa akin. Kasi kung yung manager ko tinutulungan sila, bakit din daw ako hindi ko yun magawa? Something ganon yung situation minsan.
Sure. But is that part of your work scope?
Yes, sinabi ko na din siya sa manager ko, but may times na parang ganun din yung sinasabi niya na parang ako din hindi ko din naman part yung job na yun pero tumutulong ako yung ganun. Parang hello, alam kong may choice tayo pero parang alam mo yun, may times na binabato na lang nila sa akin ng ganun yung sagot.
Sure. The idea is, hindi mo lang alam paano i-communicate. Kasi, nasabi mo na, pero bumibigay ka pa din sa social pressure na meron sila. Now, here's the thing. Okay. Pwede mo kasing i-communicate na hanggang doon lang yung work scope mo. And then, if you don't do it, yung extra mile na work, what happens?
Ko is nag-a-assume na may ginagawa ko pa ba ganyan or ano. Tapos ibibigyan niya ako ng work na kahit sinasabi ko na pwede bang hindi ko na kasi nagagawa yung ibang work ko ganyan. Pwede bang ito muna yung unahin ko ganyan. Tapos parang dinidiniin niya na hindi ito muna ganyan. Tapos parang ako ano gagawin ko, ano unahin ko ganyan. Eh since siya yung manager ko, so sino dapat yung masunod?
Right. So, here's the thing. You give the option. I've had this one consultation with a high-performing client way back sa corpo. Kapag high performer ka o high capability ka within any type of organization, mas papasahan ka ng responsibilidad. And as long as you're saying yes to that responsibility, even if outside yun ng work scope mo, yun ay magiging normal. Kapag naging normal, wala ka ng choice. Okay? Here's the thing. Paano pag umabot sa point na yung actual work scope mo na apektuhan na ng extra stuff na hindi naman part ng work scope mo? Eh, ang performance reviews for companies ay nakabase sa kung ano yung nasa kontrata mo ng work scope. If nakita sa performance review na napapabayaan mo, yung work scope mo talaga dapat, kahit na meron kang ginagawang ibang stuff outside of that work scope that helps the team and the company, it reflects negatively on you. So basically, sinabi ko lang dun sa coach ko na yun before, na bigyan mo lang ng choice yung higher ups mo. So ang tanong is, ano ba yung mas gusto nyo na ginagawa ko? Kung mas ito, palitan natin yung kontrata ko. Palitan natin yung work scope na nasa kontrata. Pero kung mas gusto nyo, ito talaga yung ginagawa ko, then I'll stick to what's on the contract. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Kasi it seems like meron ng conflict, hindi lang relationally, pero dun sa mismong tasks mo and output mo. If that's the case, well, kailangan mo sila bigyan ng ultimatum. Now, alam ko, andito yung struggle na baka mawala yung work sa'yo. Pero, mas okay na yun. Kaysa mag-resign ka nang hindi mo ini-stand yung ground mo at hindi mo natututunan how to negotiate your work scope. Kasi kung mag-resign ka man dito tapos di mo na-practice how to communicate that, what if mangyari ito sa susunod na applyan mo ulit? So, bibigay ka lang ba ulit sa demands nila kahit unfair sa'yo? So, kailangan mo ma-practice na i-negotiate to even now. If tanggalin ka man nila o mag-resign ka at one point, at least ginawa mo yung best mo para to take a stand for your situation mismo. And I'm not discounting the financial burden losing a job might give you. Pero if you can learn how to negotiate better for your work scope, kung mawala man tong job na to, I'm sure kung ano man yung kasunod na job offer sa'yo, it's gonna be better. Kasi mas alam mo how to take a stand and like prove your worth.
Mhm.
Does it make sense? May follow-up question ba? Actually, overtime na pala tayo. Pero I appreciate you sharing the situation. Take a stand. Bigyan mo sila ng choice. Ano mas gusto nyong ginagawa ko? Itong outside of work scope ko or ito talagang within my work scope? Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So, magpasalamat everyone for your time and sharing. So, ngayon, I'll need to let this go. Yun lang. Maraming salamat and take care. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.